Hey guys, welcome back to the channel once again. So we have the weekend box office for Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and I have to tell you guys, there was not much fury coming from any gods when it comes to this movie because nobody went to go see this movie. And I can't show any clips because Warner Brothers likes to copyright the crap out of people. So every time I do a Warner Brothers video, man, if I show any clips, they just go straight to copyright. But we had the weekend's box office, and Shazam did come in at #1 with 30.5 million at the box office, which was right around where I predicted. I said this movie's going to come in at the highest 30 million, and of course that's exactly where it came. And it's not a good opening. It's not a good opening because when you look at the overall box office worldwide, $65 million for this movie. And just to kind of put that in perspective, the last film that came out, Shazam, made 366 worldwide. And if anybody thinks that it's going to be touching that number, if anybody thinks that Fury of the Gods is going to be touching that number, then they don't know how box office works, and they really do not understand how things work, because that's not going to happen. Because we're going to see next week Shazam, Fury of the Gods take at least a 50. I always like to say at least 50, right? But normally it's always higher. It's always anywhere between 55 and 65. But normally movies drop half their opening weekend the following week. So you always want to say 50, but in some cases it goes anywhere between 55. I've seen in some cases in the 70s with some movies. But I think Shazam is going to drop about 55 to 60% next weekend, which is going to make the next weekend's box office even smaller. John Wick 4 is going to come out and just wallywop this thing. And I say that Shazam, Fury of the Gods will probably bring in about, let's say, about 15 to 17 million, much like Scream. You see Scream here, came out last week, did very well, dropped 60%. It's at 17 million. We're going to see a very similar fate for Fury of the Gods, and that number is going to get smaller and smaller as the weeks go by, meaning that this movie is not going to be making the worldwide box office that the first Shazam did. And when you look at something like Black Adam, because my good friend Danny was like, oh, Shazam Fury of the Gods is not going to do worse than Black Adam. Well, let's pull up Black Adam's number. Black Adam actually outperformed the first Shazam movie, not by much, but by like, you know what, maybe 20 something million, 25 million, something like that. And yeah, Black Adam came under 400 million. Fury of the Gods is not going to come anywhere sniffing to Black Adam's number, and there's a lot of reasons why this is, right? People want to make excuses. You go over to Rotten Tomatoes, and I love how people automatically, like, when they want to, they use Rotten Tomatoes to their benefits. People do that all the time. People on YouTube, people do it all the time. I do it. You do it. We all do it. We all sit there and go, man, I don't care about Rotten Tomatoes. But man, if that thing has 100%, you guys are like, man, you look at Rotten Tomatoes. Look at this shit. It's got 100% Rotten Tomatoes, you know? But when a movie you like has a horrible score, you're like, man, ain't nobody give a fuck about Rotten Tomatoes, man. Fuck Rotten Tomatoes. Ain't that right, Jimmy? Yeah, it's all up to, they want to use it in their arguments. I see people all the time go, man, I don't give a shit about Rotten Tomatoes. But when something like Evil Dead Rises comes out and it has 100%, you see everybody going, man, look at this shit. It's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Look at Evil Dead Rises, man, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Look at this shit. All the time. People use Rotten Tomatoes to their benefit, right? When it benefits the argument, they use Rotten Tomatoes. I like to look at Rotten Tomatoes to kind of test the water on what we're looking at here. And when you see something like this, you know, and you add in the fact that James Gunn said, hey, we're rebooting everything, why would people care to go see Shazam Fury of the Gods, right? Well, like, I honestly, well, look, I skipped the movie personally, so I'm not here to review the film because I haven't seen the film to review. So don't think, a lot of people are like, man, I love your review. Like, I'm not reviewing nothing. I'm just talking about the box office, okay? Let's be real. But I love the fact that people say that, right? Like you're talking about, I'm talking about the box office. I'm allowed to talk about the box office. I'm not talking about the quality of the movie. And I'm telling you why I decided to skip out on this movie. There's a couple reasons. One, I did not like the first one. I thought the first one was absolutely horse crap. It was one of those movies where you saw and you're like, yeah, it wasn't that bad. But as the days go by, you're like, man, that movie, the more you think about it, like, man, that movie wasn't good, right? I did not like Shazam 1. I hated Zachary Levi's interpretation of that character. I thought he was dumb as bricks, man. Like dumb as Jimmy here. Look at Jimmy's dumb, goofy ass, man. That was the way Zachary Levi plays Shazam, right? It was like, Shazam! That's Shazam, guys, right? Dumb as a motherfucking doorknob, you know? And it's just like, I hated his interpretation. And then they end the end credit scene with this talking caterpillar that you think's gonna lead into something. Now, if you want to outperform the previous movie, what does everybody want to see? I want to see Shazam versus Black Adam. You know, the villain that he actually fights in the comics, right? Like his actual arch enemy is fucking Black Adam, right? I want to see Shazam versus Black Adam. That's what. And then like he's beating his butt, man. And then the Shazam family come in and help, right? They should have saved the Shazam family for the second film when he's fighting Black Adam. But no, why didn't they do that? Because Warner Brothers is stupid. They decided to let The Rock do his own little universe. Like, yeah, man, the hierarchy of power is going to change forever. The hierarchy of power. Really, Rock? Do you see this box office? How much hierarchy of power actually changed? Nothing, right? So they had The Rock let him go do his own thing, trying to get Henry Cavill back and all this stuff, and the movie absolutely flopped, right? If you smell what The Rock is cooking. And then we got this half-baked idea for Shazam 2 where he's fighting senior citizens who have like godlike powers or whatever. Nothing in that trailer. Nothing in the Shazam 2 trailer, Fury of the Gods, made me want to go see that movie. It's like, why do I care? It's your paint by numbers superhero movie that we've been getting time and time again, right? So I'm like, no, I'm going to skip it. I'm going to go see Scream 6, which had its own little bit of problems I had nitpicks with. But for overall, I had a blast seeing Scream 6, man. It was great. Theater was packed and everything. And I'm like, man, like this is an experience, right? And then all my friends are telling me about Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods. And I'm like, man, I'm glad I skipped it. I'm glad I skipped it because it does not make any sense to go see this movie. You basically can see what's happening in this movie through the trailers, and it's just like, eh. It's just like, eh. So anyway, long story short, the movie bombed. The movie flopped. It flopped like a magic carp on land, buddy. It's just a flopping. It's a flopping. It ain't going to turn into no Gyarados this time. It ain't going to turn into no Gyarados, buddy. Nah, that magic carp is a flopping dead, bro. Flopping dead. I choose you, Magikarp, and it comes in the form of Shazam, Fury of the Gods, because there is no fury when it comes to these gods, because the movie has absolutely just honked and hanked and wonked and flopped. That's what happened with this movie. But I'm Robert Storms, and if I haven't gotten you mad yet, thank you so much for watching. Hit the subscribe button. I love each and every one of you guys. Stay safe. And if I did get you mad, I'm playing violin. Go get some cheese for that wine. Bye. Bye.